Fun Stamper's Journey, and I'm very excited to be here on a Tuesday, which maybe it won't always be Tuesday, but normally it's on Tuesdays because we like the whole T factor. This is T3, and we're going to talk today about tools, tips, and techniques. And like I said, I try to come every week to you, most often on Tuesdays, to share T3 with you. So I'm very happy you're here. Thank you for joining me, whether you're joining me live or you're watching later on Facebook or on YouTube. Welcome to everyone. Okay, so today's technique is kind of fun. It's something I just learned this past weekend, and I don't know how many of you follow me on other social media or whatever, but I was lucky enough to attend an amazing crafty retreat with a whole bunch of stamping and crafting and coloring friends last weekend. So that was really fun for me because I got to learn a lot of new things and watch how other crafters and creators and stampers do things. And this particular technique is one that I've seen kind of bouncing around online on Pinterest and whatnot, but I had never tried it. And I tried it this weekend, so now I want to share with you what I learned and hopefully share a few little tips and tricks along the way. And that particular technique is called spotlight stamping. Now there's a few different ways you can do spotlight stamping, and I'm going to call my version kind of like a shadow effect spotlight stamping. Maybe I'll make up something new, I don't know. But again, I'm going to be doing two different sets of stamping, and the stamps that I'm going to feature today is our really pretty peach blossom. So let me grab that and you can take a look at it. This is our peach blossom stamp set, and it includes the wonderful bold outline, which is going to be perfect for this technique. And then also a few of the fun little watercolory shadow effects. I'm going to do two cards and show this technique two different ways. One way I'm going to use this, and another way I'm going to do something different. So that will be fun. But again, that's the stamp set I'm going to feature. And to start this technique, I'm really just bringing in my whipped cream cardstock, and these are just panels that I've pre-cut. Start with one of them right now, and I have my stamp already mounted on my block. So you can see that our clear blocks are amazing, and our etched red rubber are all indexed. That's what this is called, the printing on the back. So I can see through my block exactly what I'm going to be stamping. And I'm going to start out with Tin Pail ink, which is one of our newer colors to the Fun Stamper's Journey family. It's a really, really pretty light gray. So this is going to be where I'm going to bring my kind of shadow effect in. So that's where the shadow comes in the spotlight stamping. You don't always have to do it this way, but that's what I'm going to do today. And then I'm also going to be using for my secondary stamping good old black licorice, one of the best blacks on the market, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to start with Tin Pail, like I said. And I'm also going to bring in one of the little leaves that goes with this set, the larger leaf in the peach blossom set. Mainly it's going to be about the flowers, though. So I'm going to ink this guy up, and this is going to be my background. So I'm just going to come in with my Tin Pail. And your flowers really doesn't matter if one's upside down or right side up or whichever way. I don't think these flowers have a direction. So just kind of spin the stamp around, make it fit cute. I'm going to try to stamp it at least 3 times and get a bunch of the flower happening here. So again, inking up your block. Which way do you guys ink? Do you guys do this where you're inking like this? Or do you do it where you put the ink pad down and press the stamp into it? So two different ways to ink. I think you get better control when you actually hold our ink pad and press the ink into the rubber stamp. So if y'all are watching live, give me a little comment and tell me what your preferred method of inking. I think you get a little bit more even, better coverage when you're inking like this. Maybe you don't tend to get as much on the edges. Does that make sense? But I know different people do different inking techniques. Okay, so I ended up with 4 of the bigger flowers. Now I've got a couple little gaps right here that I want to fill in, so I'm just going to grab the little leaf, or actually it's the larger leaf of the 2 that I have on the stamp set. I'm going to bring one in at the top, maybe one down here, and I maybe even want to pop in a little edge of a leaf here. So you want your background fairly full of images. Now again, this image is really big and really dramatic, and that's what I love about it. So that's why I kind of filled it up. We've got some other floral images that are large too that would be fun for this technique, so I can't wait to see what you come up with once you see this. So again, I kind of cleaned off my stamp and I've got this main one done right here. I'm going to grab another panel. And my idea then is that I want to create my spotlight. Now, spotlight is just a section of the image that is most typically popped up, so it kind of gives you that, you know, little area where it's got added emphasis. And that particular piece that I'm going to pop up is what I'm going to add color to. Now, I don't want to add color to anything that's on this background piece. So that becomes my, quote, spotlight. So in order to do that, I'm going to bring in my black licorice ink, because since I want to color this, I want the images here to be in black licorice. So this is where it gets kind of tricky. Now this, I kind of figured out as I was playing with this a few different ways to do it. So I think this is going to be potentially the little bit more difficult way, but it just depends on kind of what your style is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my ink, it's inked up with black licorice, so my inked stamp, and I'm just going to kind of turn it so I can remember how I stamped this. So now I'm matching it up. I see that I have my gray image on the back. Now this is going to become my spotlight. So I'm going to leave my stamp here, kind of get it lined up, and then slide in my whipped cream, my new whipped cream. Again, kind of matching up where I'm going. I should actually line it up in the grid here. I'm trying not to get my head in here so you guys can see. So again, lining up where my stamp can go. I'm not terribly worried that it's going to be exactly perfect, but I want it to be pretty close. So I'm just stamping that same exact image in the somewhat close as I can get it, to the original gray image. So see, I've got my new image there pretty much matched up. And I just did that by eyeballing it. Again, now I'm just going to stamp my 3 main flowers because that's the center of my card. So I'm going to kind of match it up to this. I can see that that's got the little ripple in the petal. So I'm going to match it up to where I'm going to place it. Add my card. And then just stamp straight down. So now I have 2 of the flowers. See how they're matched up pretty much? Not too shabby, right, for eyeballing it. And again, by the time we add color to our main image here, it's really not going to matter so much if something's absolutely perfect. Let's see, I spun this guy around this way. Here we go. So again, matching up to the gray. I'm going to get this 3rd flower in here. Bring it over. And stamp away. So I know ahead of time that I'm going to cut this main image out into a rectangle, so that's why I don't worry about all the leaves and whatnot on the edges. So now I just grab our Journey Rectangles die set, which is one of our very, very basic die sets. I'll just show you real quick. Look at mine, it's taped. You can tell this is a well-loved set. So this is Journey Rectangles, die number 41, one of our oldies but goodies. And I'm just going to go ahead and place it in the middle here. And I think my tape just fell on the floor. Good one, it just rolled away. I'm going to bring our little baby platinum machine in here. Just to kind of show you exactly how I do the die cutting. Hold please 1 second while I grab my tape. So I like to use this electric tape, and this is one item that's in our catalog. It's in the washi tape section, but it's not actually washi tape. It's actually like sticky note tape. So it'd be similar to like a post-it note. So it's perfect for positioning this when I don't want this rectangle to move. It's perfect for keeping the die in place. So I'm just kind of centering this die on here. And again, I'm cutting this one that I just stamped in black licorice. And I'm going to run it through the machine. Kind of got it backwards here, but that'll do the trick. I'm going to use that again in a minute for my second card, but so you can see now that what we have is we've got the main stamped black licorice flowers popped out. So now this becomes my spotlight. So you guys can really kind of get the idea of where I'm going with this now, right? So I've got my spotlight, and we're going to line it up here. And it's just going to pop up on front of that card. So we went from gray to kind of a much stronger, much bold accent piece in the middle here. And you can see that the stamping is not too bad for eyeballing it, you know, for matching it up. And again, it does not have to be perfect because now we're going to add some color to this piece. So not only do I want this stamped in black and white, but I also want it to really pop with a lot of color. So I'm grabbing some of our liquid colors, but before we do that, I'm going to add, like I said, the stamping from the actual matching kind of shadow piece to this peach blossom stamp set. So I'm going to add first color by stamping, and then I'm going to come back with a liquid color to just deepen that color a little bit. So this is a fun stamp. It's just kind of a blotchy, fun, shadowy, and there's really no right or wrong on getting it on the flower. See, just adds that really pretty soft color. Almost looks like a watercolor effect. I love it. And again, I'm stamping in summer days. So you can kind of spin it around till you get it. And I'm not caring if a little yellow gets off on the edge. I'm totally fine with it. Makes it all the better, I think. So isn't that fun already? I mean, technically you could stop right there and just have that fun pop of color added onto your image, but I say why stop there when you can add more color, right? I'm kind of a color fiend, I think. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's good, I think. Okay, so what I've got here is I've got lovely blue liquid color, and I'm just going to add a little bit of a kind of backgroundy sky effect. So I've got just plain water in my water brush, and I'm just going to come in really loosely and just add some blue. So again, nothing that's too time consuming, nothing that's too perfect. Just adding some fun color in here. And it might overlap the flowers, that's fine too. Lovely blue is pretty because it also dries quite a bit lighter. So don't worry if you add a little bit extra or it looks a little bit dark. It's totally good. So do you guys see how loose that is? Super fun. And now I want to come back and just add a little bit more color to the edges of my flowers. So I'm taking orange creamsicle. And I am going to water this down fairly well because I want it to blend with that summer days. So again, kind of squeezing some more water out of my brush, adding that in. And now I'm just going to come in kind of in the edges of my flowers and start adding the orange creamsicle. Doesn't that just bring it to life all the more? So fun. And again, you don't have to be an expert colorer, guys. You don't have to like be the best watercolor person or the best painter in the world. This is just all about coming in and adding that fun color. So again, I can kind of blend a little bit. Just whatever looks good to your artistic eye. So, what do you think? Love it? My gosh, that's a lot of color. I think it's beautiful. Love how it's turning out. So now this guy just kind of sits in it. It takes a few minutes to dry. It doesn't dry automatically. But it is a heavily pigmented ink, so it doesn't take as long to dry as, you know, maybe a watercolor or something like that. So I could just let it sit there, but in the meantime, I'll show you how I finish the card. But you can see that if I just use some foam squares and popped that guy up right there, do you see how pretty much the stamping pretty much lines up? Probably go a little bit higher or whatnot. And then that becomes really that fun spotlight in the center of your card that's also super colorful and super vibrant. Love that. Okay, let me show you how I got to an almost finished card here, and maybe you all can help me finish it. So I did also take the piercing element, which our Journey Rectangles comes with a little piercing element. You just set it inside your die cut piece, and it pierces these little tiny holes. So when it was dry, I thought that was kind of a fun little added effect. But you can see my original card that I have almost finished here. Doesn't quite match up perfectly. You can see this little petal. I'm sharing all my faults right now with you, but when you look at the overall card, you don't notice that. You don't notice that the petal is not perfectly lined up. But what I did go ahead and add to the center here, and I'm going to show you how to do that on card number 2, is I added a little bit of Journey Glaze and a little bit of our fun little sparkly sparkle cuts right in the center of the flower. Now, what I need your help to finish it, oh yeah, and I added some silk too. I added some silver silk. So see how the silk splatters kind of tie in my colored and my non-colored surfaces? That's kind of a fun way to tie that in. But I did go ahead and stamp my sentiment, and I wasn't quite sure exactly how I wanted it. I didn't know if I wanted it, you know, long or short. In fact, let me grab my scissors from behind me here. We really do use that pegboard back there. See, I have my scissors hanging out back there, and I really do go to grab them. But I wasn't sure if I wanted this short, like to match this guy, or if I wanted to have it a little bit longer, or maybe all the way across the card. So if you are quick on your comments, you'll have to tell me what you think. I'm going to cut it just exactly as long as the card. I mean, that's pretty cute. I love that this long skinny sentiment kind of goes right between my flowers. I'm not covering up, you know, the center of any of my flowers. But I think it could be a little bit shorter. Don't you think that's a little too long? I think I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. I could do kind of a little V cut, but I'm thinking maybe I just want it square. There's so much action going on here, I don't want to draw my eye away from my pretty colors. Ooh, I kind of like that. What do you guys think? Did I get it pretty straight? I think so. Oh, I see some comments. Short, short, shorter. Did I get it short enough? I do agree it should be a little bit shorter. So I'm going to go ahead and go with it about this length, which is slightly longer than my rectangle here. But I think it also would be pretty smashing if it was, you know, exactly the same length as that rectangle. Is it straight? Let me make sure it's straight. So I get it straight, Kim. Okay, so what do you guys think? Pretty fun, pretty, you know, not super hard, but maybe not the easiest technique in the world, getting the stamps and from one color to the next to match up. So I'm going to show you method number 2 for doing this technique, and it's a little bit easier, a little bit different, so you guys get to vote on which method you like better. Does that sound good? I think a lot of you out there are like, easier, easier, but there is a little trick to this easy thing that I will show you as we go along here. So let me grab another panel of paper. I only need one this time though, so this new technique is only going to involve one of the panels of cardstock. So I'm going to come in the same exact way and quickly stamp my Tin Pail Peach Blossoms here. Hear this, bam, bam, bam. Okay. Isn't that Tin Pail color gorgeous? You could use Riverstone or another one of our grays, but I think when I really wanted this shadow look, I really wanted that lighter gray. So this is our very lightest gray in our Fun Stampers Journey color family. So again, getting mostly flowers, and then I'll probably add a few little leaves too. I think it's fun how every one of these panels comes out a little bit different. Definitely need a leaf over here. Leaf here, maybe one at the top then, a little corner. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about matching anything up right now this time. Rather, I'm going to take this panel that I just did, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my, okay, where's my little rectangle? Here it is. So I'm going to grab my Journey rectangle like I did before and go straight to the cutting out part. So again, kind of line it up, use my little tape, quickly run it through. You guys don't mind if I'm cutting on camera, do you? Those of you who haven't seen our little Platinum 6 in action, you guys just are gonna love this machine if you don't already have it. It's so cute. Of course, your regular Platinum machine works, or if you happen to have the Amaze machine, that was a machine we had a little while ago. Any of those will work. Okay, so now I've got my rectangle cut out. Just gonna loosen it from this tape. I'm gonna, of course, save this piece because that's gonna be for my card front. But now I've got this piece. Roy asked me if I was gonna switch papers, and I'm gonna switch papers now, Roy. Roy, did you say hi to everybody yet? I think we should say hi to Roy back there. Show your face, show your face.
Do I have a face? I don't know. Do I have a face today? Hello, here's my face.
Oh, there he is. So Roy has some new camera angles too. Do you guys notice? Do you guys like this new camera angle? It's kind of fun. we are getting ready for our launch party, which is going to be on December 1st. And so Raya's trying a whole bunch of different new cameras and new camera angles and whatnot. So I hope you have it marked on your calendar to join us December 1st. We're going to have a live show, about 2 hours worth of tips and techniques. If you like what I'm doing here, I think you're going to love that show. So be sure to mark your calendar for December 1st. So that is kind of why we're playing with some of our equipment and checking different camera angles and seeing what's going to work best for that show, because it's going to be a long show. 2 hours. 2 hours, you guys. We're going to have so much fun. Okay. So now I've got my cutout panel right here. Remember, it's stamped in tin pail. But now I really do want it black licorice because I want to color it. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to stamp black licorice right on top of the tin pail. So that, again, we're going to be matching up the images right now, but in what I think is a little bit easier way. Now, the only thing I have to warn you about is that this may not be perfectly matched up when I stamp it on top, right? But that's okay. If it has just a tiny bit of a shadow, remember I said this is going to be kind of a shadow spotlight effect. If it's a little bit offset from the original one, I'm totally fine with that. It's just going to leave very, very, very slight shadow on it. So again, I'm going to kind of spin my stamp until I figure out where we go. I'm going to do this bottom image first. So see, I've got the stamp lined up so I can see that same curve. And I'm going to do my best to stamp it right on top. I'll try not to get my head in there. But I know that it's not going to be 100% perfect, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so I'm stamping again black. So see how this just tiny, tiny, tiny bit offset? But again, it kind of gives it like a little shadow look. And keep in mind, I'm also going to be adding color to this panel, so that's going to, you know, take away some of that look too. Okay, let's see, where am I? Here we go. Match this guy up right here. And again, attempting to get as close as I can. I've got 3 tries. Oh, that one was pretty good. That was pretty darn good. If you're the super, super fussy kind of stamper, I'm not sure if this technique's going to be for you, but I like to try new things and see if I can get them to work. Okay, so that one was a teeny bit offset too, but again, I'm totally fine with that. Now I'm going to come in and add some color. I am going to do the same lovely blue for the background, but then I'm going to do the flower a different color just to show you some different ways to use that liquid color. Oops. So again, just this little bit of sky that's showing. Oh, I had one more little piece of flower I should have stamped there. I'll go back and do that. So again, kind of messy, loose watercoloring here. It's all good. I'm not using that stamp. I'm not using the little shadow stamp that I had earlier. I'm just going to add color with my brush. So again, a little bit different method. And now I'm going to switch to watermelon. I think watermelon's fun. We'll make these flowers pink this time. Sounds like a good idea. Now, one tip on using the watermelon, because this is really, really concentrated color, I'm going to really try to water down my watermelon quite a bit and just pull a nice puddle of really, really watered down watermelon over here on my block. I'm just using a clear block as a palette. So I want it really quite watered down. And even when it's watered down, look how vivid it is already. So we don't need a whole lot of this color. Pretty, pretty watermelon. Again, adding some more water. Even if you were teaching this like to a class or to some of your friends, if you've got some crafty friends, maybe you would show them this technique. Just keep in mind that you can just be playful and fun and not worry about staying in the lines. Now, one thing I want to point out, now that I have this kind of colored in, I'm going to add some darker to the centers, but do you see how a lot of that shadow stamping that we had on there is kind of minimized now? It really doesn't show near as much as it did before we added the color, right? So I'm going to come in with some watermelon that's not diluted as much. So I'm pulling some of the heavier color out just for the centers of these flowers. A little bit of center there. So again, all the different shades of pink just from one little dab of the watermelon. Place this over there. And again, this is going to have to dry for a couple minutes. And I would stamp that if I was finishing this card in real life. But I do want to show you how I added the sparkle cuts to the center of the flowers. So I'll grab my Journey Glaze here. Test it a little bit. And then to add the pretty little sparkles, you can just come in with the Journey Glaze. And I just kind of went around the center of the flower. I didn't even fill it in all the way. See how I didn't do the actual center. I just kind of puddled it in like a loose circle all the way around. A little bit right here. And then you just come in with your sparkle cuts, which these are amazingly sparkly and pretty. Aren't they pretty? It's like, focus, focus. There we go. Then I take a little pinch, and our Journey Glaze is dimensional. It's kind of a combination of a resin and a glue. So it's going to stay really dimensional and really pretty. Kind of tap that on there. Ooh, I like that. Okay, that's going to take a minute to dry. Let's bring my card in that I almost have finished. Again, I'm going to have you guys help me finish it. And look how the watermelon dries a little bit lighter when it is dry. So keep in mind that our liquid colors are going to be a little bit lighter when they dry. Sprinkle some sparkle cuts here. And you'll see the method that we had for this stamping. If I went ahead and brought back my stamped panel, when I put it on my card base, then all I did was take this finished one when it dries, of course, and then I just used some foam adhesive and just popped it up. So instead of having a complete panel behind, like we did for this card, you know, if you looked underneath, you would see the whole panel under there. This is going to have a hollow space underneath, but it is a white card base, so that part doesn't really matter. So it's just popped up with some foam adhesive, so some of our foam squares. So that's how this guy is finished. In fact, if I kind of let you peek right here, you can see that it's just bare white cardstock under there. But I don't think that part really matters because it's really all about the effect of the finished card and the fact that it's got the lighter kind of shadow of the flowers and then the spotlight in the middle. So this time I went ahead and embossed this sentiment, which I suppose I should show the sentiments too. The original sentiment I used, the congratulations, was from our Life's Moment stamp set. So that's where I got the congratulations from. And this particular one, which is called Just For You, I'll leave it set there for a minute. That's one down here, is from our Remarkable You stamp set. I'm just fussy cutting around the little banner. I love this little stamp. I think it's one of my favorites in this set. So simple, Just For You, but so perfect for so many occasions, right? It's one of those stamps that I know I just use over and over again. Okay, so I fussy cut that around, and then I feel like it should be kind of offset this time. What do you guys think? Who's going to be quick on the comments now? I'm going to grab some of our little foam squares, put them on the back. We'll see what you guys think. I love it when you help me finish. So we have options here. We could go dead center. That's pretty fun. It's got the Just For You. You could go to the right. Oh, I see Carol popping into the right. I'm kind of thinking, I'm with you, Carol. Maybe down a tiny bit. Off-centered. Kind of cute. Ooh, it's kind of cute on the corner. What do you guys think on the corner? Ah, that's pretty too. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to go here. I think I'm going to go offset and slightly lower than center. I think it's going to kind of emphasize this pretty little sparkly flower, kind of draws your eye down there. I love it. So pretty. Oh my gosh. So let me bring the version 1 back without flipping them all over here. I'll cover up my inking from earlier. So again, kind of fun. Like the cards ended up looking quite similar in the end. It's interesting to know that they're two pretty different techniques as far as stamping them and getting them lined up. I love both of them. This one definitely, obviously, since we stamped it in one panel, matches up perfectly. You know, the stamped lines are 100% perfect. But the downside is that you have that little shadow to deal with. So it's going to be kind of whatever you're comfortable with. If you don't mind the shadow, then try method B. That's going to be quite a bit easier and it's going to line up perfectly. If you're comfortable with it not being perfectly done because you don't like the shadow part, then try method A. So, super fun. I love trying new things out, and I'm so happy that I discovered this technique this weekend and wanted to share it with you right away. And I hope you try something like this, something similar. Again, a normal spotlight stamping I think would be where you just stamped the entire image black and then popped up just part of that image and colored it. But I kind of love the two-tone of the inks with the gray and the black. Super fun. Excited to see if you try it. If you do, go ahead and tag us here at Fun Stamper's Journey. And if you have any questions about these products or anything else, definitely visit us at our website, which is, of course, funstampersjourney.com. And if you like this video on YouTube, if you're liking it over there, if you're watching it over there, consider sharing it, and also on Facebook. Subscribe to our channel. Oh my gosh, you have so many options to just connect with us here at Fun Stamper's Journey. I love it, and I love being with you and bringing paper to life. So have a great day.